"Have we met before?" the handsome CEO asks. Secretary Hyun can only deny knowing him, but her nervous behavior betrays her. The CEO smirks in disbelief as he stands up and walks over to her. Moving closer, he whispers into her ears, asking why his body is reacting to her like a sixth sense if she is a stranger like she claims. He backs her against the door, placing a leg between her thighs. Secretary Hyun stares up at him shyly. She watches as he grabs her hand and clasps it with his, lowering his head to plant a kiss on her lips. Secretary Hyun, who thinks her life would be forever dry, never thought she'd meet a man who had lost interest in everything. And as their lives begin to intertwine, sparks begin to fly. In a beautiful guest house, CEO Cha Joo-wan is on a phone call with his secretary, Kim Woo-jin. Woo-jin is asking his boss if he likes the room, to which Cha Joo-wan replies and says it's organized. His secretary is pleased because it was a late-minute arrangement. Cha Joo-wan wonders why his assistant is so worried. He expects his assistant to also take a vacation since he is on one. He tells Woo-jin that he is as essential as the CEO to the company. Woo-jin laughs it off and asks his boss when he is coming back. Cha Joo-wan says he isn't sure, and that he plans to have as much fun as possible. Assistant Woo-jin, in shock, jumps up and shouts loudly, forgetting he is in the office. Sitting down shamefully, he asks his boss if he is out of his mind and why he would go on an open-ended vacation when his company is in its busy season. Cha Joo-wan laughs and reminds Woo-jin that this is the reason why he pays him well and promises to be back in a month's time. Woo-jin wails and wonders when he would ever have his own vacation. Cha Joo-wan answers and tells him to take over the CEO position first. He ends the call, not bothering with Woo-jin cursing him. Done with unpacking, Woo-jin stretches and decides to take a walk outside. He admires the nice weather as he wonders when last he had a break. Aboard a flight, our heroine, Seo Hyun-jin, is sitting at the window seat. She stares out of the window sadly as she thinks about the events that brought her here. She recalls the day her nightmare started, when her life went downhill like a tragic drama. She is standing in front of her boss reporting when he asks if she left his lunch schedule open. She confirms she did, adding that she already booked a restaurant for his lunch with his daughter and his future son-in-law, making her boss pleased with her. The door opens then and the boss's daughter, Sa-rang, comes in with a man. She greets Seo Hyun-jin warmly. Seo Hyun-jin smiles back at her but is shocked when the boss's son-in-law steps in. Sa-rang grabs the man's arm lovingly and introduces him to Seo Hyun-jin as her oppa and the man she wants to marry. Seo Hyun-jin watches as the man smiles, saying it is his first time meeting her. He reveals his name is Oh Hyun-jae. Heartbroken, Seo Hyun-jin congratulates the two on their engagement and rushes out of the room. She turns back to see her boss holding the man. Clearly, he is satisfied with his future son-in-law. Seo Hyun-jin is in pain. Oh Hyun-jae says it is his first time meeting her, but we see that there are pictures in her house with them together. Seo Hyun-jin has been with him for 10 years. She takes down their pictures, angry at him for abandoning her without any warning and turning them into strangers. As Seo Hyun-jin admires the sky outside the plane, she remembers how her life turned into a mess after seeing her boyfriend with another woman. She kept making mistakes at work, causing her to be reprimanded many times. She didn't expect to be this affected by his betrayal. Due to this, our female lead decides to resign. Her boss doesn't want to let her go, but Seo Hyun-jin insists. She cannot face this reality anymore or watch as her life crumbles around her, so she chooses to escape. Meanwhile, CEO Cha Joo-wan is still on his walk. He is busy stretching when he sees a cab pull up outside the guest house, and the driver helps a gorgeous woman out with her luggage. Cha Joo-wan is confused when he sees them and wonders who they are. "Excuse me," he says as he approaches the lady. The lady turns out to be Seo Hyun-jin. She turns and greets him, asking if this is Sky Pension and if there are still any rooms available since she failed to make a reservation. Cha Joo-wan is swimming in confusion now. He remembers his secretary telling him he bought the whole guest house for his boss's vacation. Since it was nice and secluded, he figured it would be good for his boss's personal retreat. Cha Joo-wan was fine with this as he wanted somewhere empty. Cha Joo-wan is brought back to the present when Seo Hyun-jin asks to see the boss. He assesses her from top to bottom and concludes that she is here on vacation. He understands that she still thinks the guest house is open for business, not knowing it has been bought out by him. All he needs to do now is tell her that it is private property and not a pension. But looking into her beautiful eyes, Cha Joo-wan's heart wavers. He smiles and decides that since he is the owner, he can do whatever he wants. He invites Seo Hyun-jin in, assuring her that he is the one in charge and that there are rooms available. Seo Hyun-jin is relieved and follows Joo-wan into the building. He leads her to a huge room decorated in pink and says she can stay there. Seo Hyun-jin is hesitant, but Joo-wan tells her that there are no other guests. He stays on the first floor so she can feel free and make herself at home. Seo Hyun-jin asks about the rate and Joo-wan breaks into a sweat. He has no idea how much a place like this would cost, and if it is even peak season. Still thinking, he decides it shouldn't be as expensive as a hotel, but then how much should he charge? Seo Hyun-jin calls out, "Sir?" But Joo-wan still has no idea. He wants to know how long she is staying for, and when she says she hasn't decided, he tells her he will give her the rate after he makes a quick call. Seo Hyun-jin assures him that it is fine. He promises to charge her the standard room rate and to find him if she needs anything. Seo Hyun-jin agrees and thanks him, thinking the place must be so busy. Our almighty CEO runs out to make a distress call to his secretary Kim. He asks him what the nightly rate for a vacation place costs. Secretary Kim is bewildered and wonders why his boss wants to know all of a sudden. Joo-wan tells him not to bother anymore, opening his laptop to research it himself. He says he will go with a rough guess. Secretary Kim is panicking now. He asks his boss what he is up to. Joo-wan doesn't answer, instead asking him if there are quarters for helpers and caretakers. Secretary Kim says yes. He explained that before on the earlier call. Joo-wan apologizes and tells him to keep up the good work, then hangs up the phone. Sitting at his desk, he smiles and thinks this will actually be more fun than staying alone. After all, it is a vacation. Settled into her room, Seo Hyun-jin is texting with her friend. She sits on the bed and opens Jinju's message, laughing when she sees it is a lot. Suddenly, her phone begins to ring and it is her friend calling. Seo Hyun-jin picks the call and mocks her for being so impatient. She explains that she was just about to reply to her messages. Her friend, clearly the bubbly type, complains that waiting for Seo Hyun-jin to reply has aged her by a decade. She adds that anytime Seo Hyun-jin disappears, it makes her worry. Seo Hyun-jin can sense her friend's worry and apologizes. She says it was so chaotic, which is why she couldn't inform her beforehand. Jinju asks her where she is now, and Seo Hyun-jin replies she is on Jeju Island. Her friend is in disbelief that the introvert, Seo Hyun-jin, can travel so far on her own. Seo Hyun-jin lies on the bed as she expresses her feelings. "I just wanted to get out of Seoul as fast as I could," she says. She just needed to escape and leave Seoul, even if only for a short while. Her friend wants to know if Hyun-jae has reached out to her since that day at her boss's office. Seo Hyun reveals that he hasn't. Jinju is angry and promises to beat up Hyun-jae if she ever sees him. Seo Hyun curls up on the bed. Although sad, she doesn't want to blame him, saying she also wasn't the most dedicated girlfriend. She remembers a time when they were together, trying to get intimate. Seo Hyun isn't able to go through the last step and stops Hyun-jae. He is frustrated and asks why again. Seo Hyun is embarrassed and lies that it is that time of the month, trying to pretend that she is on her period. Hyun-jae is upset, however, and tells her if she doesn't want it to just say it, as he knows when she is on her period and she clearly isn't on. Tired, he promises not to force it and pulls her close so they can cuddle and sleep. "I'm sorry," Seo Hyun says. Cha Joo-wan is still thinking about his unexpected guest. Recalling her lonely figure, Cha Joo-wan wonders what her story is. He worries about her since she hasn't come out of her room, afraid something bad might have happened to her. He jogs around the guest house thinking about how thin Seo Hyun is and how she looks like she could break easily. He, however, remembers a part of her that isn't thin: her bust. Recalling her full chest, Joo-wan turns red in the face. He acknowledges that she isn't thin in all places. The object of his thoughts, Seo Hyun, is taking a walk on the beach. Still dressed in her long blue gown without the jacket, she looks stunning. A scarf is wrapped around her long neck. With her shoes pulled off and held in her hands, Seo Jin admires the view. She reveals it has been a long time since she has been to a beach. As she walks further, a heavy wind pulls her scarf off of her neck and into the ocean. Seo Jin is annoyed but has no choice but to go into the water to retrieve it. A delicate lady leaves her shoes on the sand, walking further and further into the ocean. This is the scene Cha Joo-wan catches sight of while on his run. He stops in shock as he watches her go deeper, and he begins to sweat. She is about to commit suicide, he thinks. Seo Jin doesn't know that behind her, a man has created a tragic drama scene of suicide and is still busy trying to reach for her scarf. She gets within reach of it, and just as she is about to grab it, someone pulls her from behind, shouting, "Guest!" Seo Jin is surprised to see Cha Joo-wan holding her and responds, "Sir?" Joo-wan yells at her to get out of the water. Seo Jin asks him to give her a moment as she wants to grab her scarf. But lost in his dramatics, Cha Joo-wan doesn't hear her and keeps trying to get her out of the water. He tries to convince her that she is still young and suicide isn't worth it. Seo Jin is so frustrated. "What is wrong with you? Let go of me for a second," she yells. Pushing him away, she manages to grab her scarf but hears Joo-wan shout from behind her. She turns around to face him, only to see him looking panicked. "My leg" is the last thing he is able to whisper before he goes underwater. Seo Jin's last panicked cry of "Sir" echoes around the beach. Cha Joo-wan never expected his saving the beauty scene to turn into him being saved instead. Standing in the water and trying to pull his beautiful female guest out, his legs fail him and begin to cramp, causing him to slip and almost go under. Startled, Seo Jin grabs his hand and puts it on her shoulder. As he murmurs about his leg, she urges him not to lose focus. Looking into his eyes, she tells him to trust her and to put strength on his body. Joo-wan complies, and Seo Jin pulls him along as she swims out of the water. She manages to get them to shore and they both collapse onto the sand. Joo-wan starts coughing and Seo Jin hurries to his side to check on him. "Are you all right? How's your leg?" she inquires. Joo-wan says he is fine. He lets out a relieved breath, then turns to Seo Jin and begins to scold her. "Hey you, if you're planning to die, go do it somewhere else. Why would you try to die in front of me?" he warns. Seo Jin is utterly confused. "My scarf just flew off in the wind, so I went in to get it." She explains and scolds Joo-wan for jumping into conclusions. Joo-wan is flustered. He explains that he thought she wanted to commit suicide, so he came to her rescue. The two of them stare at each other before Seo Jin begins to laugh. She tells him he is ridiculous. Her laughter is infectious, and soon Joo-wan is laughing too. Sitting on the warm sand on the beach with the glow of the sun cast upon them, the two strangers share a heartwarming moment. Joo-wan stands up, apologizing for misunderstanding her, and offers for them to head back to the pension together as they are a mess. He stretches his hand out to Seo Jin, still sitting on the floor. Looking at him from below, Seo Jin is struck by how handsome he is. She is scared because this stranger has just made her laugh without her realizing it. She reminds herself that she came here to relax alone and not get involved with anyone. With that resolve, she slaps away Joo-wan's hand and brushes past him coldly with an "excuse me." Joo-wan is stunned. He can't help but feel bad since he only wanted to help her. He wonders why she had to push him away so awkwardly. He follows behind her as they head back to the pension. Watching her, he notices that she is guarded and puts up a wall against people, which he tells her. Seo Jin gives him a dismissive, "Is that so?" and doesn't say anything further. Joo-wan is ticked, but continues trying to make her talk. He says people are more welcoming to a handsome guy like him, and gives a silly smile. Seo Jin doesn't even look back as she points out that people are also friendly to an attractive woman like her. Pissed, Joo-wan asks why she came here alone if she really has so many admirers. Seo Jin doesn't even spare him a glance as she replies, "That is exactly why she came alone, because the attention is exhausting." Understanding that she is referring to him, Joo-wan is annoyed and walks past her, going on his way. Seo Jin lets him go. Staring at his angry back as he walks away, Seo Jin can't help but smile at how childish he is. Such a kid. Joo-wan has returned to the pension and is taking a shower. He can't stop thinking of Seo-jin. Well, we can't stop thinking of him because those muscles, and how she gets on his nerves. He scoffs as he mutters childishly that there can't be that many guys around her anyway. The next instant, he smiles as he admits that she stirs up a strange sense of competitiveness in him. At the same time, Seo-jin is coming out of the bathroom after her shower. She feels refreshed and begins to think about what she should eat for dinner since she is hungry. There is a knock on her door, and she goes to open it only to see Joo-wan standing there with a smile. He asks her if she's hungry and if she has any idea on what to eat. Seo-jin says she doesn't and wants to know if he knows any good restaurants nearby. Joo-wan laughs like a villain as he tells her he knows just the place. The two are outdoors at what seems to a park. There is a table and bench nearby. Joo-wan stands over the grill as he flips the meat while Seo-jin watches, drooling. She takes a sip of wine to curb her hunger and studies Joo-wan. He has taken off his outer shirt, only wearing a sleeveless black shirt which reveals his muscled arms. I see your plan now, CEO Cha. Watching Joo-wan, her mind goes to her ex, Hyun-jae, and she starts thinking about him. Cha Joo-wan, thinking she is admiring him, smiles proudly, asking her not to stare too much and to try to hold back a bit so he won't get shy. Rattled that she has been caught, Seo-jin scolds him and tells him to focus on trying not to burn the meat. Soon, Joo-wan is done grilling and serves the food. Seo-jin is so happy her whole face lights up, and she thanks Joo-wan. He tells her to enjoy the food, but can't help but feel unhappy that she only becomes this happy in front of food. He fills her glass and tells her they should use this chance to introduce themselves. He reveals his name is Cha Joo-wan. Seo-jin tells him her name is Hyun Seo-jin. Joo-wan teases her and asks if someone as guarded as her can raise a toast. Seo-jin says she can and toasts him. Done with dinner, Seo-jin settles on the bench in front of the fire and sips her drink. Joo-wan offers her some snacks to go along with the wine and she accepts them. Watching her, Joo-wan praises her alcohol tolerance, but she tells him it is a necessary skill in her line of work. Joo-wan can't stop staring at her. He watches her as she stares sadly into her drink. He can't resist telling her his observations about how she seems to be someone with a tragic story, and that was why he misunderstood her at the beach. Seo-jin laughs and admits she does have a story, but she didn't come to a beautiful place like this just to end things. Joo-wan is curious and asks to hear about it. Seo-jin tells him it is nothing special, and is actually a common story. The man she dated for over 10 years is marrying another woman without word to her. Joo-wan is angry on her behalf and calls her ex a jerk. He says even from a man's perspective, her ex is a loser, and an embarrassment with no loyalty, no self-respect, and no decency. His words make Seo-jin laugh, and she agrees that Hyun-jae is a jerk. Joo-wan teases Seo-jin, bringing up her former claim of being popular, yet she is actually going through heartbreak alone. Seo-jin says she is popular, but is so boring that her boyfriend got tired of her. She admits that life is uninteresting to her, and she doesn't know what to do. Her trip here is her first alone trip in her entire life. She mocks herself, wondering why it is after a world-shattering betrayal she decides to find herself. Listening to her rant, Joo-wan picks up his drink. Seo-jin continues talking as she expresses how free she feels now and wants to do things she hasn't done before. Joo-wan turns around and asks what those things are. To his shock, Seo-jin suddenly slides over to his side and leans in to kiss him. Her soft, warm lips cover his own while he stares open-eyed. Leaning back and looking straight into his eyes, she tells him it is things like this she wants to try out. Cha Joo-wan can't believe what just happened. Looking at Seo-jin sitting back down after kissing him, he can't help but question her. What was that? Seo-jin, feeling shy, can't look him in the eye. She watches the fire as she insists it meant nothing, and she just wanted to try it. Joo-wan drops his glass of wine and asks her if it was just a kiss she wanted to try. Staring into his eyes, she explains she wants to try something daring, something surreal. Moving until he is closer to her, Joo-wan asks if kissing a stranger she met is her idea of being daring. He tells her what happened didn't even count as a kiss and was more like a peck or an accidental brush of lips. Seo Jin feels more embarrassed and thinks that Joo-wan must have been with a lot of women. Nervous, she tells Joo-wan he must have kissed a lot since he keeps track of each one. Her words are cut off when Joo-wan grabs her face and kisses her deeply. Pulling back from her, he tells her as an adult, she has to go all the way for it to be called a proper kiss. Suddenly, Seo Jin hugs Joo-wan around the neck, leaning in to whisper in his ear, I want to go further. And with that, the pair get intimate. If you know, you know. Hours later, Joo-wan is ready to go again, but Seo Jin has passed out. Joo-wan smiles as he watches her pretty sleeping face. Look what you've done to me, Seo Jin, he murmurs as he strokes her face. You must take responsibility now. In a hotel on the other side of Seoul, scumbag Oh Hyun-jae is busy surprising his new girlfriend. Covering her eyes, he leads her into a room. Sarang is anxious as she asks what it is. Hyun-jae takes his hand off her face and she is faced with his surprise. He has prepared different gifts for her, along with a bouquet of flowers. Sarang is touched when he wishes them a happy 150th day. She hugs him excitedly, declaring how happy she is. The two settle down on a couch with glasses of wine in hand. Sarang moans about how good this feels, and Hyun-jae is proud since he prepared all the gifts himself, and his efforts have paid off. Touched, Sarang leans over to kiss him, telling him she loves him. Hyun-jae makes the greatest mistake ever trying to tell Sarang he loves her. He whispers the name Jin-ah, calling her by another woman's name. Sarang pulls away angrily. What did you just say, Appa? She questions. Hyun-jae doesn't know how to reply, making Sarang even angrier. She grabs her bag and makes to leave. Hyun-jae panics, asking why she's leaving. Sarang says she doesn't want to be with a man who can't even get her name right. Hyun-jae holds her back and apologizes, saying it was a mistake. He asks her not to leave since they came here to have a good time, but Sarang reminds him that he was the one who ruined such a good day. She wrenches her arm away from him and walks out. Hyun-jae is left feeling disappointed in the room. Like the real man he is, Hyun-jae decides to go to a bar to drink off his sorrows. As he is drinking, his friend shows up. He wonders why Hyun-jae is drinking alone, acting pitiful. He remembers Hyun-jae saying he was spending the day with his fiancée and asks where she is. Hyun-jae explains that she left because he ruined her mood by calling her another woman's name while kissing. His friend begins to laugh at his misfortune and mocks him for sulking because he was dumped. Hyun-jae is annoyed and calls his friend too loud. He explains that he didn't get dumped. His friend stops laughing but asks him if he is ready to marry someone like Sarang because he'll have to treat her like a princess for the rest of his life. Hyun-jae can't answer this question. His friend wants to know about Seo Jin and if Hyun-jae is still in touch with her. Hyun-jae says no. His friend doesn't understand why he left Seo Jin since she was so devoted, and someone like that is hard to find. Hyun-jae scoffs and says Seo Jin wasn't devoted and had problems just like Sarang. He begins to start a sob story of how they met when they were young, and she was so kind, blah blah, but his friend smacks him on the back. He tells him he is getting what he deserved for treating a good girl like Seo Jin badly, and asks him not to regret later on. Hyun-jae doesn't want to hear that. To him, everything is completely fine. He proudly says that as for Seo Jin, he can get her back whenever he wants. All he has to do is say the word. To her, he is the only one, and she can't find another man. His friend calls him a jerk, but Hyun-jae says it is true. Still sleeping after an eventful night in the guest house on Jeju Island, Seo Jin has no idea that a certain disloyal man still thinks she is his. Or that a certain man who put her through a rough night is staring at her as she sleeps. Cha Joo-wan can't get enough of Seo Jin. Watching her as she sleeps, he can't help but want to know more about this mysterious, fascinating woman. Kissing her on the forehead, he hopes she had a good time just like he did. Waking up the next morning, Seo Jin wonders what came over her. I must be out of my mind, she thinks. She blushes as she remembers the events of last night. Her asking to go further and then spending all night in bed with Joo-wan. She compares her two intimate encounters, With Hyun-jae, getting intimate felt like an obligation. She never enjoyed it and soon stopped trying to be intimate. Because of that, Hyun-jae often mocked her for being frigid and asked her to see a doctor. After hearing insults like that for a long time, Seo Hyun-jin had begun to believe that there was something wrong with her. Caressing the side of the bed where Joo-wan laid, she whispers her thanks to him for making her feel alive. "Shouldn't you say that to the person involved?" Cha Joo-wan says from the doorway. Seo Hyun-jin is shocked and asks him why he didn't knock. Joo-wan replies that he didn't want to wake her up but didn't expect to come and see her confessing to his pillow. Seo Hyun-jin, embarrassed, pulls the blanket over her head, yelling that it wasn't a confession. Joo-wan agrees and asks her to get up if she's awake, but Seo Hyun-jin doesn't want to until he leaves. Joo-wan jumps on the bed and hugs her from behind, pleading with her to show her face and not be petty. Super embarrassed, Seo Hyun-jin yells at him to just leave already. When he doesn't answer, she finally comes out from beneath the blanket and lets him see her face, asking what is so good about an early morning face. Joo-wan teases her over her puffy eyes. Seo Hyun-jin tries to defend herself and explains it was from crying all night, but remembers what happened and blushes. Joo-wan laughs and teases her more. Frustrated, Seo Hyun-jin tells him to get out and he finally relents and promises to give her a break. He shows her where the bathroom is and then goes outside. Alone, Seo Hyun-jin can't help but complain about how her body hurts. Opening the bathroom door, she is stunned when she sees the bathwater already prepared and filled with rose petals. In the mirror, she sees a note. "I thought you might have sore muscles, so take a nice bath and relax. I enjoyed last night, so I hope you did too." Seo Hyun-jin is touched as she reads the note and can't help but smile. The scene begins with Seo Hyun-jin in a glass bottle. Since she was young, she has always found it hard to open up to people. Even as a teenager, she learned to smile and act friendly with others, but only within set limits. Even when others tried to get closer to her, she never allowed them to. Not even her ex, Hyun-jae. But why was it so easy for Cha Joo-wan to open her glass doors and let the sunlight in? Sitting in the same park as earlier, Seo Hyun-jin claps her hands excitedly when she sees the delicious spread of food in front of her. She praises the breakfast service. Joo-wan is confused for a moment until Seo Hyun-jin asks if the food isn't included in the budget. Joo-wan then remembers his fake pension owner persona. He asks Seo Hyun-jin to let him know what she wants to eat before breakfast so he can prepare it for her. He offers to make her soup if her stomach is still upset. Seo Hyun-jin assures him that the food prepared is fine. She takes a bite and is surprised by the taste. It isn't instant food, but home-cooked food. She asks him if he made it himself, and Joo-wan says yes, but says a silent apology to the lady who actually helped him make the whole pot of food. Joo-wan stares at her as she grabs some bread and lathers it with jam. She takes a big bite and asks him why he isn't eating and just watching her. Joo-wan teases her about her big appetite, reminding her that she also ate a lot the last time and she must really love food. He reveals that most ladies would try to act dainty around him. Seo Hyun-jin takes a big gulp of her drink and explains to him that she doesn't want to be dainty, just comfortable. Joo-wan tells her to stay that way and offers her some fruit, making her happy. Halfway through her breakfast, she wants to know if there are any fun places around to visit. Cha Joo-wan tells her there is and offers to take her there, and she accepts. The two get dressed and Joo-wan takes her to the beach where they go kayaking. Joo-wan tries it first and then asks Seo Hyun-jin to also take a turn. Seo Hyun-jin refuses, afraid to. Unfortunately, she is with Joo-wan, and he makes her do it. Standing on the raft with Joo-wan pushing her, Seo Hyun-jin is terrified, but she trusts him not to let go and to keep pushing her. Joo-wan secretly lets go and watches her row further away. Seo Hyun-jin, not hearing his voice any longer, turns back and sees he has let go. Her fright makes her fall into the water. Joo-wan laughs at her and reminds her she was doing so well on her own. Seeing she doesn't respond, he swims closer and spots her lying face down in the water, not moving. Joo-wan immediately panics, calling her name. Seo Hyun-jin stands up and splashes him with water. "Gotcha, why do you keep teasing me?" she yells, laughing. Joo-wan shakes his head and smiles. "You're such a trickster." He tells her dotingly and splashes water on her face. "Look who's talking," she says as she splashes him back. The two start a water fight as their laughter rings happily over the ocean. Elsewhere, disloyal Hyun-jae is taking a walk. He recalls his friend's words asking him if he is ready to marry Sarang and blaming him for disappointing Seo Jin. Scoffing, he brings out his phone and calls Seo Jin, but her number is unavailable. He wonders why her phone is off and says it is making him worry. He texts her friend Jin-ju, asking why Seo Jin's number is off and if everything is okay. Jin-ju's reply comes immediately, warning him never to contact Seo Jin again. Seo Jin, meanwhile, has no idea her cheating ex is trying to get back with her. In the shower, she is enjoying a moment of intimacy with her hot stranger-turned-lover, Cha Joo-wan. The two turn the shower time into an intimate experience. Life is unpredictable. An experience planned out can take an entirely different form because of the person you share it with. Seo Jin shares this mindset. Her first trip was supposed to be something special. It was a trip to reflect on herself, but instead, she found herself living each day like she was someone else. All because of him, Cha Joo-wan. He pampers her, blow-drying her hair, spending all their time together, eating when they feel like and sleeping when they want to and doing whatever they pleased. And whenever they desire each other, they fulfill their needs without hesitation. This adventure has given her the freedom that she desired. But soon she will have to leave, and they will become two strangers that never cross paths again. All she will have left of him are the memories. Seo Jin is reading a book when her phone rings. She sees the caller is Jin-ju and picks the call only to hear her best friend crying. Frightened, she calls out to her asking what is wrong but hears no response. Downstairs, Cha Joo-wan has just returned home. Grabbing a heavy box, he opens the door and calls out to Seo Jin. He tells her he is back and teases her about how bored she must have been staying home alone. He is glad he went alone, though, because it is about to rain. There is no response, and Cha Joo-wan wonders if she is sleeping. He begins to check all the rooms, searching for her, but she is nowhere to be found. Cha Joo-wan stands there stunned and shaken. Seo Jin, whom Cha Joo-wan has been searching earnestly for, is back in Seoul. Dragging her luggage, she rushes into a hospital. Sitting outside the door of the surgery room is her friend Jin-ju. Jin-ju looks up, sees her and begins to cry. Seo Jin hugs her and comforts her. After hours of petting, her friend says she is okay now. Seo Jin asks about Jin-ju's mother and how the surgery is going. Jin-ju says it's fine, and thankfully they managed to catch the illness on time, so the surgery isn't a major one. Seo Jin is relieved and reveals how worried she was when Jin-ju called out of nowhere, crying. Jin-ju apologizes for calling suddenly, but Seo Jin stops her, telling her she is happy that she called. At the guest house, Cha Joo-wan is still waiting for Seo Jin. Watching the clock, he wonders just where she went. Looking down, he suddenly spots a note left on the table. Opening it, it is a message from Seo Jin, apologizing for leaving suddenly, explaining that a dear friend's mother collapsed and needs surgery, and she has to be there with her. With that, she decides to end their adventure, and thanks Cha Joo-wan for giving her an unforgettable experience. Reading the letter, Cha Joo-wan can't believe it. He spots the money she puts under the letter, and he smirks in anger. Hyun Seo-jin is leaving the hospital with her friend Jin-ju. The surgery is over, and Jin-ju's mother is recovering well. Jin-ju reveals she was on the verge of collapsing when she heard her mother was sick. She is sorry about ruining Seo-jin's trip also, but Seo-jin tells her not to worry as she was about to end the trip anyways. Her friend notices that Seo-jin is looking different and points out that she looks well-rested. Seo-jin blushes as she agrees that she had a lot of fun and that she got lucky on her first trip. Her friend smells gossip and immediately latches onto Seo-jin, asking her to spill the truth and say what happened during the trip. Seo-jin doesn't want to talk and dismisses it as nothing. Jin-ju remembers that Hyun-jae tried to reach Seo-jin and informs her. Seo-jin can't imagine why he would want to talk to her and asks what Jin-ju told him. Her friend proudly says she warned him to get lost and not contact them again. Seo-jin is happy and laughs, praising her friend for a good job. Jin-ju reminds her that Hyun-jae wouldn't stop though. Seo-jin doesn't care. She is planning on changing her number, moving house, and getting a new job. Her friend is impressed by her determination. Seo Hyun-jin throws back her head with a smile on her face. She has decided to change too and stop living her life like a fool. 1 week later, Seo Hyun-jin has started a search for a new job. Standing confidently in front of the examiner as he examines her resume, she smiles boldly. The examiner admires her resume and says with years of experience as an executive assistant, she is more than capable for the job. Seo Hyun-jin thanks him. The examiner wants to know why she left her previous job, but Seo Hyun-jin doesn't feel comfortable answering. The examiner drops the papers shielding his face, and we can see now that it is Secretary Kim. He tells Seo Hyun-jin that she can avoid answering if she's not comfortable and shakes her hand as he looks forward to working together with her. Seo Hyun-jin returns the handshake as she tells him she looks forward to working with him too. She leaves, entering into an elevator. Just as the elevator doors close, the elevator beside it opens and out comes Cha Joo-wan. He walks up to Secretary Kim. "I'm back," he says. He asks Secretary Kim how the interview went. Secretary Kim gathers the documents and hands it over to Cha Joo-wan. He explains that the interview was brief. He finds it a pity that Joo-wan came too late and therefore missed seeing her. He hands her resume to Joo-wan, introducing her as the person Joo-wan will be working with. As Joo-wan stares down at the resume, he is pleasantly surprised and can't hide the smug smile that spreads on his face. "So here you are, Hyun Seo Hyun," he whispers, "coming to me all on your own." "A week. That's how long I spent with her." Cha Joo-wan stares out the window of the guest house. A week has passed since Hyun Seo Hyun left him and he can't take it anymore. He needs to find her. Picking up his phone, he calls Secretary Kim. "I'm heading back to Seoul. Vacation is over." He tells his secretary. He can't accept this. He has to find Hyun Seo Hyun no matter what. Walking into his office, Cha Joo-wan greets his secretary and informs him he's back. Secretary Kim welcomes him and can't help but make fun of him, saying his vacation must have done him good, and that he looks brighter, although Joo-wan clearly has dark circles under his eyes. Joo-wan ignores him, saying the vacation was great, but it disappeared just like a Midsummer Night's Dream. Secretary Kim doesn't understand what his boss is saying, and Joo-wan waves him off asking for the results of the interview. Secretary Kim explains the interview was very brief and hands over the resume to Joo-wan. Staring down at the applicant's name and photo, Joo-wan can't hide his smile. Just like fate, when he wants to search for her, she appears in front of him on her own. Hearing him call the applicant's name, Secretary Kim wants to know if his boss knows her. Joo-wan smiles happily as he reveals it's a complicated affair. He asks when she begins work. Seo Hyun-jin has no idea the man she planned to never cross paths with again has become her new boss. She is busy researching places to stay with her friend, Jin-ju. Having found a place she likes, she reveals that she has paid the lease, which Jin-ju is happy about. Seo Hyun-jin thanks Jin-ju for letting her stay at her place until she found a new house. The two girls turn in for the night, but Seo Hyun-jin cannot sleep. Raising her palm to stare at it, she wonders how her handsome stranger is doing since she left him. She tries to figure out what it is she is missing. The freedom she had, the warmth or his presence. Seo Hyun-jin feels bad. She mocks herself for thinking she could easily move on, when all she thinks about was the time she spent with him. She remembers how he teases her, stares at her and plays with her, and she feels empty inside. Closing her eyes, she tries to convince herself that leaving him and that happiness behind might be the right choice. Sitting in a restaurant, Seo Hyun-jin is having a lunch gathering with her former colleagues. They regret not holding a farewell dinner for her and are grateful that they can eat together. Seo Hyun-jin thanks them, asking them not to worry about her. Her colleagues mention how sad they all were when she left, but looking at her now, they can see that Seo Hyun-jin leaving was the best choice as she looks so much happier now. Seo Hyun-jin laughs and remarks that it must be a result of plenty of rest and good food. The ladies all laugh. After lunch, the girls do not want to part with her. They reveal that they brought a gift for her but left it behind, asking her to wait while they fetch it. Seo Hyun-jin tries to decline as she feels it is too much, but the ladies don't give her a chance, running back into the building to grab the gift and warning her to wait for them. Helpless, Seo Hyun-jin can only stand there and wait for them to return. She is waiting patiently when she hears a voice call out to her from behind. Seo Jin turns back and is surprised to see her ex, Oh Hyun-jae, standing there. Hyun-jae is pissed at her. He wants to know why she hasn't answered his calls or texts, talking about how worried he has been. Seo Jin finds it funny. Worried? She repeats. She is angry because he has no right to be worried about her. When she reached out to him, he avoided her, and now he is talking about being worried. Why now? She asks him. Hyun-jae tries to spin a story about having his own reasons back then, but Seo Jin cuts him off. She wants to know if those reasons have suddenly disappeared and can't understand why he's coming back now when everything is over. Hyun-jae smirks and tells Seo Jin it isn't over, asking her if he ever broke up with her. Seo Jin is confused. What are you even talking about right now? She asks. He grabs her arms as he tells her to think well, but Seo Jin pushes him away. I'm not in the mood to play word games with you, she tells him. She reminds him that he came with Sarang to her office, so he can't suddenly come up now and say that they didn't break up. Hyun-jae tries to play the good guy card, saying he is sorry for making her upset but asking her to calm down. Just then, her former colleagues arrive with the gifts and the conversation stops. The girl apologizes for keeping her waiting, explaining that she just wants to thank Seo Jin for everything she has done for her. Seo Jin accepts it, and the two make promises to hang out together in the future. As they watch the girl leave, Hyun-jae tells Seo Jin that he didn't break up with her and he doesn't plan to. He says he isn't married yet, and so things can change at any time. Listening to him talk, Seo Jin can't hold it in anymore. Jinju was completely right about you. You're insane, she tells him. She asks him to leave and that they should never see each other again. Hyun-jae can't believe this. He is about to convince Seo Jin to change her mind when someone calls him from behind. He looks back to see his fiancée Sarang watching them. He panics as Sarang comes closer, telling him she thought he left. She notices Seo Jin and greets her too, asking if everything is okay between both of them. Seo Jin smiles and assures her that everything is fine. Sarang wants to know if it's true that Seo Jin is leaving the company, and when Seo Jin says yes, she thinks it's such a shame. Hugging Hyun-jae's arm, she invites Seo Jin to their wedding. Seo Jin smiles and says she has something else to do and leaves the two of them. Watching Seo Jin leave, Sarang stops smiling as she remembers that Hyun Seo Jin's name also has Jin in it. It is a moving day for our female lead. Seo Jin is busy cleaning and arranging her new apartment. There is a knock on the door and she goes to open it. Standing outside is her friend Jinju alongside another old friend, Chanwoo. The two have come to help her clean. Grateful for the help, Seo Jin invites them in and the three get to work, scrubbing, cleaning, and dusting until the apartment is sparkling clean. Tired, the three lie panting on the floor. Seo Jin thanks the two for coming to her aid. Chanwoo complains about being hungry and the three order some food. As they eat, her friends want to know when she resumes her new job. Seo Jin says she starts next week. Chanwoo teases her about starting afresh. She's got a new house and a new job. Seo Jin agrees and says she has got a new number too. The three toast to a new beginning. And sweet and sour pork, as Seo Jin adds. It's Monday and Seo Jin is resuming her new job. Dressed in a pink shirt and black skirt, Seo Jin has a good feeling about this job, especially as she had a good dream last night, which she believes brought her good luck. She manages to get to work on time and steps into the elevator. She can't shake off the good feeling and even considers buying a lottery ticket. She steps out of the elevator and is amazed by the large office space. As she looks around, Secretary Kim spots her and comes up to her. Seo Jin is startled by him but returns his greeting. He shows her to her desk and she thanks him. Calling everyone to attention, he introduces Seo Jin as the new addition to the team. Seo Jin introduces herself with a bow and everyone welcomes her. Done with the team introduction, Secretary Kim asks her to drop off her bag as she still needs to be introduced to the president. As Secretary Kim leads her to the office and knocks on the door announcing their presence, Seo Jin can't help but feel nervous. This is her first meeting with her new boss. A deep voice asks them to come in. Leading her inside, Secretary Kim introduces her as Hyun Seo Jin. Seo Jin bows and introduces herself as the new addition to Secretary Team 1. As she looks up at her new boss, she is shocked, speechless. Standing before her, leaning against his desk, is her hot lover. It's Cha Joo-wan. Cha Joo-wan chuckles and welcomes her. Seo Jin can't control herself and calls his name, asking what he is doing here. Joo-wan laughs and says he owns the hotel. Staring at his nameplate, it is indeed his name written there. He is the owner of the Royal Hotel. Seo Jin can't believe that the Cha Joo-wan she knows turns out to be the owner of such a huge company. She suddenly feels faint, stumbling. Secretary Kim grabs her and steadies her before she falls over. Cha Joo-wan's possessive nature sparks off, and he orders Secretary Kim to take his hands off Seo Jin and leave. Secretary Kim, sensing danger, immediately lets go of Seo Jin and retreats. He wants to take Seo Jin with him, but Joo-wan stops him, saying they both have a lot to discuss. Seo Jin also agrees, and Secretary Kim leaves. Alone with the man of her thoughts, Seo Jin tries to pull herself together. The two sit down opposite each other. Cha Joo-wan pours her a cup of tea, which she accepts with stammered thanks. Grabbing the cup, she asks how he manages to run the hotel and the pension at the same time. Joo-wan smiles and explains to her that the pension went out of business a long time ago. He bought the land after the business was closed down. He points out to Seo Jin that she had the wrong information, and that was how she ran into him and they met. Seo Jin is angry at him for deceiving her. Joo-wan doesn't quite understand, but still apologizes for the deception. He adds that if they had a little more time, he would have explained, but she left without giving him a chance to. He queries her about her departure, wondering why she left without leaving behind her contact, desperate to know if she really intended to leave without seeing him again. Seo Jin is nervous and clasps her hand on her lap tightly. She apologizes and tells him to consider the job offer canceled. Joo-wan smiles, mocking her for planning to run away again. He leans forward and asks her if she really wants to put their time together in the past, leaving it as just pleasant memories. Seo Jin can't respond. Joo-wan turns his face and asks her to do as she pleases. He gives a little threat, warning her that no company will hire her with her level of irresponsibility, and tells her to go ahead and try. Seo Jin is frightened and asks him what he means by that. Joo-wan admits that he is the kind of man to hold a grudge, and he can easily find out any company she submits a resume to. Seo Jin stares aghast at him, wondering if he is threatening her. Joo-wan admits that he is so. She should therefore stay by his side like a good secretary. Seo Jin tries to defend herself, pointing out that he deceived her first, claiming that if she knew who he was, she wouldn't have slept with him. Joo-wan ignores her protests as he gets up and comes over to her side. He tells her that regardless, they did meet and spent days together. Seo Jin closes her eyes as she tries to find an excuse, but a soft feeling on her face startles her. Joo-wan has a hand on her face, turning her gaze to him. He wants to know if she really thinks she can just go off and live happily alone after driving him crazy. Holding her close, he dares her to deny that she hasn't thought about him even once during the time they were apart. Staring into his eyes, Seo Jin blushes furiously. She thought she could really turn her life around and start over as someone new, but slowly her hands comes up to grab his. Maybe her new beginning starts with him, she thinks. How could she ever place this man, this handsome man, behind her and pretend he is her past? Staring into his eyes, Seo Jin makes up her mind. Removing his hand from her face, she stands up as she informs him that she just wants to go back to being strangers with him. Joo-wan can't believe his ears. Seo Jin gives a bow, reintroducing herself to Joo-wan like she is meeting him for the first time. Joo-wan doesn't want to play along with her, though. He asks her if she really doesn't recognize him, and she replies that she doesn't, as this is her first time seeing him. Joo-wan gets up then, stepping closer to Seo Jin, causing her to move backwards in panic. He points out that this can't be the first time they are meeting. Seo Jin wants to know why he thinks so. Trapping her against the wall, he brings his face close to hers as he reveals that every one of his instincts is reacting to her like they know her perfectly. Flustered, Seo Jin turns and pushes him away. She insists that she doesn't know him and hurries out of his office. Outside, she leans against the door, her face red and her body trembling. She searches for the pension home on her phone but finds out that it doesn't exist any longer. proving that what Joo-wan said is true. Someone calls for her and she turns to find Secretary Kim watching her. He asks her to come with him for a chat. In the empty boardroom, Secretary Kim asks Seo Hyun-jin some basic questions, which she answers. Studying her, he notices she is pale and asks if the president said anything to upset her. Seo Hyun-jin insists that she is fine, but Secretary Kim can see that she is not. He goes straight to the point and inquires if she knew Joo-wan before. Seo Hyun-jin is scared to answer, but Secretary Kim assures her she can be honest. Seo Hyun-jin is still hesitant, so Secretary Kim explains that he and Joo-wan have been friends since childhood. He talks about how happy Joo-wan was when he knew it was Hyun Seo-jin they were interviewing. So, Secretary Kim wants to know if there is a story between them so he can help mediate. Seo Hyun-jin starts to explain that she met Joo-wan on her trip to Jeju Island, but a ringing phone interrupts her story. Secretary Kim picks up his call only to receive orders to come to Joo-wan's office. He tells Seo Hyun-jin that he needs to leave and assures her it will all work out. Staring at his receding back, Seo Hyun-jin wonders if she should leave. She mocks the good feeling she had earlier. After some thought, she decides to remain here. She came here to work and all she would do was work. Besides, she remembers Joo-wan's threats and is sure he won't let her leave anyway. Cha Joo-wan, who has spent all morning peeping at Seo Hyun-jin, invites Secretary Kim into his office. He wants to know what the two spoke about. He almost explodes when he hears that all she said was they ran into each other in Jeju Island. Secretary Kim has to calm him down, reminding him that she couldn't finish the story since Joo-wan dragged him over. Once his temperamental boss is calm, Secretary Kim demands to know what exactly went on between the two of them. Joo-wan explains their meeting was a misunderstanding and that she mistook him for the owner of the pension, resulting in them spending a week together. It is Secretary Kim's turn to almost explode. He demands to know what spending a week together really means. Joo-wan tells him it is exactly what it means. And although Seo Hyun-jin is planning to brush off their time together, he isn't willing to do so. Secretary Kim asks him to calm down and reveals that Seo Hyun-jin asked to cancel her appointment. Joo-wan laughs mischievously, insisting that he would never do that. In fact, from today onwards, he wants Seo Hyun-jin to accompany him on all his schedules. Secretary Kim tries to protest as it isn't part of her duties, but Joo-wan shuts him up by asking if he is planning to disobey the president. Cha Joo-wan doesn't stop in his effort to get Seo Hyun-jin back. Walking into her shared office, everyone is shocked to see him. He announces that in order to welcome the new team member, there will be a company dinner. He suggests that Seo Hyun-jin pick the menu. Seo Hyun-jin is flustered. "Huh, me?" she asks. Joo-wan nods and suggests she pick something simple like grilled meat. The mention of grilled meat reminds the two of their first night on Jeju Island where Joo-wan grilled meat for her. Seo Hyun-jin agrees. Pleased with himself, Joo-wan leaves. Seo Hyun-jin stands silently as the rest of the ladies blush and make plans on how to get closer to the president using this opportunity. Seo Hyun-jin, however, is sad. Work is over, and the team is gathered in a restaurant for their dinner. Joo-wan urges everyone to eat up as the bill is on him. He tries to speak to Seo Hyun-jin, but a lady interrupts him and offers to toast him. Joo-wan has no choice but to accept. Sitting opposite Seo Hyun-jin, he gets jealous as he is forced to watch Secretary Kim feed her. The dinner is over, but Cha Joo-wan is drunk. Secretary Kim and Seo Hyun-jin have to support him to the car. Secretary Kim wonders why his boss is so affected today. He settles him into the car and asks Seo Hyun-jin to watch over him for a bit while he runs to the convenience store. Seo Hyun-jin agrees to do so. The two sit beside each other in the car. Still drunk, Joo-wan asks for some water and Seo Hyun-jin grabs a bottle, offering it to him. Thinking it is Kim Woo-jin with him in the car, Joo-wan begins to complain about Seo Hyun-jin, wondering why she is so complicated. He can't help but feel like she is slipping further away. He mumbles about how much he wants this to work. Listening to him bare his heart, Seo Hyun-jin is touched. She turns to face him only to find that he has moved closer to her. Staring into her eyes, he directly asks how much longer she is going to pretend not to know him for. Walking back home after her first day at work and the dinner with her colleagues, Seo Hyun-jin is still shaken. She wonders if a day can feel this long. Her phone rings with an incoming call, and picking it up, Jinju's voice comes over the line. "Hey, young lady, you look pretty down," Jinju says. Realizing her friend must be somewhere near, she turns around searching for her. "What? Where are you?" she asks. Looking behind her, she spots her friend. Jinju happily holds up a packaged meal, declaring it is Seo-jin's first day at work, so they have to celebrate properly. Over dinner, the two talk about Seo-jin's first day experience. Jinju is in shock, as she can't believe the owner of the pension Seo-jin met in Jeju is actually the president of the hotel she is now employed in. Seo-jin says yes and complains, asking her friend how things got this tangled. Jinju, however, can't understand her friend's worries and is instead excited, thinking this might be the start of a new romance. Seo-jin is terrified and reminds her that this is the president of their hotel she is talking about. He's her boss. Jinju tells her to stop worrying. He has already been showing interest in Seo-jin, and something was already going on between the two of them. Why should she care now if he is the president? Seo-jin doesn't want to admit he has feelings for her and tells her friend she only wanted to ignore him, but then he got mad. Holding her weapon of warning, a chicken leg, at Seo-jin, Jinju warns her to broaden her perspective. She wants to know if the only reason her friend can't get together with him is because he is her boss. Our female lead then confesses and says she is done. She wants to put her love life on hold for now. It hasn't even been long since she broke up with her ex. Her mind flashes back to that scene in the car when Cha Joo-wan asked her how long she wanted to keep pretending not to know him for. Moving closer to her, he asks her if she will be mad if he kisses her as he wants to. Nervous, Seo-jin tells him she will be mad. Back to the present, she shakes her head and tells her friend all she needs to do is to avoid him as much as possible from now on. Jinju tells her the more she runs away from him, the more competitive and persistent he is going to be. She even cheerfully suggests they bet, telling Seo-jin she will be dating him before long. Seo-jin is flustered and scolds her bestie, questioning if she is even her friend. Over at our male lead's side, he is completely drunk. His secretary, Kim Woo-jin, is helping him inside. Unhappily, if we might say. Struggling under his weight, he calls Cha Joo-wan punk and asks him to try and walk. Joo-wan drunkenly tells him to watch it as he just called his boss names. Once inside, Woo-jin flings his boss onto the couch, making our male lead groan. Woo-jin is unrepentant and complains, saying if he keeps helping Joo-wan, he is going to tire himself out first. Joo-wan promises to give him some workers' compensation. Leaning over, Woo-jin smacks his friend, asking him if he is really drunk or is just pretending to lean on him like this. Our CEO looks like an aggrieved little wife as he complains about how hard Woo-jin hit him. "It hurts," he says. Woo-jin stands straight and says he needs a beer. He wants to know if Joo-wan would also like one. He says yes. Opening his can of beer, Woo-jin takes a sip and is pleased because it hits the right spot. The two men are sitting side by side on the couch. Woo-jin turns to his friend and asks him what he is going to do now. Joo-wan says about what? Woo-jin says he is talking about Hyun Seo-jin. He tells Cha Joo-wan he is acting like he has a plan and he wants to know what the plan is. Our male lead says he has no plan. His secretary tells him he is ridiculous, but Joo-wan insists he just wants to stay near her. All he wants is just to see her all the time. Leaning his head against the couch, he says if possible, he just wants her to be nice to him too. Woo-jin is surprised and wonders if Joo-wan is actually serious about Hyun Seo-jin. Our male has no idea what serious means and if it matters. Kim Woo-jin insists it does. And from the way Cha Joo-wan is acting, he must definitely be out of his mind. He tells his friend he hasn't seen him lose his cool like this since high school. Joo-wan wants to know if he also acted this way back then. Woo-jin says he did. Back then, he almost turned the entire school upside down looking for his lost first love. Just thinking about it gives Woo-jin the chills, and he reminds Joo-wan that he is still by his side even after all the chaos. Our cutie immediately hugs his friend and tells him he is the good guy. "Love you, Secretary Kim," he says happily. Secretary Kim is disgusted and tells his friend to get lost immediately. It is our female lead's second day at work. She might have promised herself to avoid crossing paths with the boss as much as possible, but what can she do when the boss wants her around him all the time? She is stunned when Secretary Kim informs her the boss has made an order and she will now be accompanying him on his schedule. She stammers, trying to ask why. In her mind, she tells herself she never thought it would go this far. Secretary Kim smiles and tells her they need to leave. Waiting outside next to his car, Seo Hyun-jin and Secretary Kim greet their boss as he approaches. Cha Joo-wan gets into the back seat and asks Seo Hyun-jin to get in beside him. She is shocked and asks what. He asks if she has a driver's license and she says yes. He tells her good. She has to learn everything Secretary Kim is doing as she will be taking over soon. Seo Hyun-jin agrees, but she wonders to herself if she is really going to be okay from now on. From then on, she accompanies him everywhere, from dinners to events to meetings. Sitting at her desk, Seo-jin sighs. It is another late night at work again. Complaining to herself, she says escorting duties are not even part of her job, and now she is stuck working overtime because she couldn't finish her actual task. Tired, she decides to just go home. She gets up and discovers she is starving. She plans to get something on her way home. She stops at a store and gets some food, happy to finally be eating. Unknown to her, someone is watching her from outside. Cha Joo-wan is driving past a store when he sees Seo Hyun-jin sitting there and is surprised. He wonders what she is doing there at this time as it is already late. Our female lead, on the other hand, is busy drinking. She wonders why she is getting so tipsy and thinks it must be because she is tired. However, she won't stop. With that, she continues chugging down her beer. From behind her, someone approaches silently. Seo-jin, are you drunk? A man says. It is Joo-wan. He smiles down at her. Our female lead is already drunk and happily turns around to tell Joo-wan so. Looking at her overly red face, he teases her, asking her if she knows who she is talking to. She says, he is someone she has shared a lot with. Ah, she remembers now. He is the owner of the Sky Pension. She can't understand why he is here and wonders if it is a dream. Joo-wan is amused as he wonders why her memories are like this. Why isn't she remembering her most recent memories? Seo-jin, in her drunken state, starts to speak honestly. She tells him she misses him. She says she is also sorry for what happened back then, for leaving without saying goodbye. Joo-wan is shocked by her confession and asks her if she really missed him. Without a word, she leans him and kisses him. Pulling back, she laughs happily, saying this feels so real. Looking at her silly, happy face, Cha Joo-wan laughs as he wonders what he is going to do with her. Moving closer, he grabs the back of her head and pulls her to him. Seo-jin, you made the first move again. He tells her and immediately begins kissing her. Seo-jin is stunned at first, but soon loses herself in the feeling and starts kissing him back. The next day, Seo-jin wakes up only to find herself lying in bed with a man. His hand is over her shoulder, and looking at his face, it turns out to be her boss, Cha Joo-wan. Seo-jin is in shock and just sits there wondering what is going on. Is this a dream? She touches his face, which makes the man on the bed wake up. If you're trying to tempt me right now, I won't hold back either, he says with his eyes closed. Seo-jin is so frightened she takes her hand off his face and blushes. This isn't a dream, she thinks. Sitting up hurriedly, she apologizes to him. However, she suddenly remembers and wonders how she got here. He tells her he found her wandering in the streets, doesn't she remember? Just as she says no, she starts to recall what happened last night. She remembers him pulling at her hand and asking her to stand up so they can go home, but she refuses. Instead, she begs for one more drink. She even sat by the side of the road and stared at some flowers, urging him to look at them. Cha Joo-wan was exasperated and asked her if she had never seen flowers before. Recalling those memories, Seo-jin is so embarrassed she covers her head and rolls around in bed screaming, "Ha!" Our handsome CEO doesn't mind and stands up, asking her to come with him so they can have a cup of tea before she leaves. After all, she won't stay even if he asked her, would she? Seo-jin pauses her screams of sorrow and stares at his back in surprise. Another memory comes to her mind again, and this time, it is the scene where he kissed her. Seo-jin turns completely red in the face. Thoroughly embarrassed, she grabs a pillow and buries her face in it. "You're crazy, Seo-jin," she scolds herself. The two get dressed and Cha Joo-wan goes into the kitchen to prepare some tea for them. Seo-jin is uneasy and offers to do it by herself. He refuses, telling her to just sit there and let him handle it. Nervous, she can only agree. As he sets the tea before her, she notices his cold behavior. She wonders if he is angry because she acted so rudely to him yesterday. He hands her the cup, telling her to drink the tea so she can feel better. She accepts it and thanks him. Looking into the teacup, Seo-jin doesn't like how unfamiliar Joo-wan feels at this moment. He is acting like a stranger she doesn't know well. It is as if the way he held her tightly yesterday was just a lie. Cha Joo-wan asks her how long it has been since she joined. About a month? She says yes. It has been around 3 weeks now. Placing down his teacup, he tells her he is sorry for being so self-centered up until now. Whether or not she wants to continue coming to the hotel to work is up to her. Even if she decides to move to another company, he won't stop her. Seo-jin is in shock, wondering why he is suddenly saying all this. Cha Joo-wan tells her that is all he has to say. If she is done with her tea, she can leave. With no choice, Seo-jin says she is leaving now. Walking away from him, Seo-jin wonders why it feels like she has been dumped. Unbelievable, she mumbles. Upstairs, Cha Joo-wan groans as he holds his head. He remembers what happened yesterday night. After asking Seo-jin to stand up so they can head home, she refuses and asks for one more drink. Our male lead cannot refuse her, and so they start drinking again. Looking at her, he teases her about being quite the drinker. She already had so much on her own, yet she still wants to drink more. Seo-jin, however, is in a world of her own. Staring at him happily and dreamily, she says she likes whales as they are cute. Cha Joo-wan in turn asks her about himself. Does she like him? He is eagerly waiting for her answer, but she says no. He has deceived her by being the owner of the Sky Pension. To her, their trust was already broken back then. Joo-wan is stunned when he hears this. She wants to know how she can possibly trust him now. He apologizes to her and tells her he never meant to deceive her. Seo-jin mumbles about what a shame it is. If they hadn't met again under the worst circumstances like this? Joo-wan doesn't want to give up and asks if there is no more room for reconsideration. Seo-jin informs him there is none. If she were someone with a more forgiving heart, maybe things would have been different. But she isn't. She is broken now and doesn't even have a shred of emotion left. She is just someone who struggles to take care of her own heart and body. Cha Joo-wan moves to stand by the window. He remembers how he carried her on his back. He notices how light she is and scolds her, asking her to eat better. Smirking, she tells him he sounds just like her dad. Her dear dad. She misses him a lot. Joo-wan asks if her father is no longer with them, and she says yes. He left her all alone. And even though she promised him to be happy? At this point, Cha Joo-wan stops thinking about that conversation. Staring at some flowers in a vase, he wonders, what is the next step for us? Inside the company's meeting room, Secretary Kim is making an announcement and says the 15th anniversary party for Sinju Trading will be held in their hotel this time. Hearing the name of the company makes Hyun Seo-jin nervous. Why? Why does it have to be here? She thinks. Secretary Kim concludes the meeting, and one of Seo-jin's colleagues turns to her and asks her if Sinju Trading isn't her previous company. Seo-jin agrees and says it is making the female colleague laugh. She tells Seo-jin they will be counting on her then and will have to rely on her this time. She even gives her a thumbs up. Seo-jin is sweating nervously as she refuses, saying she isn't sure she will be of much help. Going through her phone, there are tons of messages from her former colleagues, each of them happy that the Sinju Trading anniversary will be held at the hotel where she now works. They can't wait to see her and are counting on her. Our female lead herself isn't happy and holds her head in worry. People from both companies are making a fuss now, expecting her to handle everything. Leaving the meeting room, she hopes that nothing major will happen at this anniversary and tells herself not to overthink it. A few weeks later, it is Sinju Trading's anniversary party, and it is being held at the Royal Hotel. People are already arriving. Inside one of the rooms upstairs, our CEO, Cha Joo-wan, is standing in front of the mirror and getting changed with the help of 2 expert designers. Someone knocks on the door and he tells them to come in. The door opens and Seo-jin enters. Greeting them, she asks Cha Joo-wan why he called for her. He waves his hands, telling the 2 designers to leave, which they do. He turns to face Hyun Seo-jin, asking her to come in for a moment. She steps closer to him and asks him if there is anything he needs. He coughs and suddenly raises the 2 ties in his hands. He wants to know which of the 2 she thinks is better. While Seo-jin is standing there stunned, he turns to the mirror and compares the 2, explaining that he thinks both of them look good, but since it is someone else's event, it will be better not to outshine the hosts. Seo-jin tells him instead of him trusting her judgment, she is sure the experts who were with him earlier would know better. Joo-wan doesn't care and tells her he will still prefer to go along with whichever one she chooses. Seo-jin starts blushing. She remembers the way he spoke coldly to her at his apartment, making her think he was upset with her. Moving closer to him, she holds the plain tie and tells him it would be a better choice as his facial features are quite sharp. After saying this, she can't stop blushing and feeling shy. This puts Joo-wan in a good mood and he teases her, asking what else. With red cheeks, Seo-jin asks what. He tells her she must have a lot to say about his face. Seo-jin hurriedly apologizes if she overstepped. Inside, she scolds this sharp mouth of hers. Joo-wan doesn't mind and informs her she will have to tie it for him after she has decided. Our female lead agrees and grabs the tie from him. Stepping closer to him, she begins to knot it. However, because he is staring at her, she becomes clumsy, her face turning red. He notices and asks her if she is nervous, which she denies immediately, saying nerves wouldn't help. He tells her he heard she put a lot of effort into today's anniversary party, therefore it needs to be wrapped up perfectly. Doesn't it? Seo-jin agrees and finally admits she is a bit nervous, making Joo-wan laugh. Downstairs, the party is in full swing and in comes the scumbag ex, Oh Hyun-jae. By his side is his fiancée, Sarang. As he steps into the hall, he looks around eagerly. He remembers Sarang telling him she ran into Seo-jin at the front of the company. He was stunned and asked why. Sarang revealed Hyun Seo-jin had changed jobs and was now working at the Royal Hotel. She admits the woman is very good at her job and made a wise career move. Hearing that, Hyun-jae says really, and asks if she joined the executive secretary's office. Back to the present, he is still busy searching around the hall when Sarang grabs his arm. Why are you acting like this, Appa? Who are you looking for? She asks him. Of course, the cheater denies and says he is just a little bit nervous. Tapping his shoulder, Sarang tells him happily that he is the most handsome man today. Excuse me, have you seen our male lead? And he is all hers. Hyun-jae smiles and tells her that is a relief. At the other end of the hall, our male lead enters into the hall with Secretary Kim and Hyun Seo-jin by his side. Hyun-jae stares at them and smiles when he sees Seo-jin. Found it, he says. Cha Joo-wan is busy greeting the president of Sinju Trading. He tells the man it is their honor to host such an important anniversary event at their hotel. The president thanks him instead for going all out for them. Soon the anniversary begins and all members are asked to take their seats. That is the moment Oh Hyun-jae gets up from his seat and tells Sarang he needs to step out to use the bathroom. She urges him to come back quickly. Leaving his fiancée, this man goes searching for his ex. Seo-jin is shocked when she sees him coming, but he grabs her hand and pulls her away with him. From across the corridor, Cha Joo-wan spots the two of them and is very unhappy to see this. Seo-jin struggles and tells him to let her go, but Hyun-jae doesn't listen. He drags her into a corner and angrily asks her why she isn't answering his calls. Is she trying to drive him crazy? Our girl tells him she has blocked his number as she has no reason to answer his calls. She wants to know why he is acting like this. Hyun-jae tells her straight that they haven't broken up yet, just like he told her. Did she really think hiding out here would stop him from finding her? He tells her not to make things difficult and she should think about this simply. If she can't give him what he needs, he will get it from someone else. Hyun Seo-jin is enraged and asks him what kind of lunatic he is. Suddenly, someone comes in and with a punch sends Hyun-jae stumbling to the floor with his glasses knocked off. Yes. Using his hands to straighten his suit, Cha Joo-wan calmly asks Seo-jin, Is this him? Is he the spineless man? Seo-jin can't believe her boss just came in and punched her ex to the ground. Startled, she can only stammer out, President. Is it him? Is he the spineless man? Cha Joo-wan asks. Oh Hyun-jae groans as tries to get up. Holding his injured face, he is confused about what just happened. Seo-jin is flustered and asks Joo-wan what he is doing here. Hearing the word president, Hyun-jae tells Joo-wan to back off and stay out of his employees' personal matters. He asks Joo-wan if he is some kind of thug that just goes around beating people up like this. Smirking, Joo-wan says he is neither just a boss nor a thug, and is here because he has a personal interest in Hyun Seo-jin. This makes the scumbag Hyun-jae jealous, and he asks Seo-jin who this is, wanting to know if she has found a new man already. Annoyed, she tells him to watch his mouth. Joo-wan cuts in and questions Hyun-jae about him losing it over a woman when it is him, Joo-wan, who is interested. He tells the man he is not only spineless, but also pretty small-minded too. This makes Hyun-jae so angry, he suddenly punches Joo-wan in the face, yelling that he has had enough of him. Joo-wan receives Hyun-jae's punch, then turns around and kicks him in the stomach. Watching the two men fight, Seo Hyun-jin can only cover her mouth in panic as she wonders what she should do. Inside the hall, Sarang is busy looking for her man. Haha. She wonders what is going on as her fiancé said he would be back before long. She sees a crowd of people gathered in front watching something, and she wonders what is happening over there. Pushing her way through the crowd, she wants to know what is going on. She is shocked when what she sees is her man fighting with President Cha, while Seo Hyun-jin is busy begging them to stop. Enraged, she calls out Hyun-jae's name, making the man pause. He immediately stops fighting when he sees his fiancée and begins stammering. The girl is worried and rushes to pull him up, asking if he is okay and can walk. He tries to reassure her he is fine, but groans in pain. Glaring at President Cha angrily, she tells him she doesn't know what is going on here, but she won't let it slide. Seo Hyun-jin is busy helping up her boss and is alarmed when she hears this. Sarang takes Hyun-jae away while Secretary Kim arrives and asks his president if he is all right. He assures the secretary he is fine, but Woo-jin isn't convinced, especially when he sees some blood. Holding Joo-wan, he asks him if he doesn't need to go to the hospital. Joo-wan says he will be fine. Looking back at Seo Hyun-jin, he informs her to come with him to the office. Seo Hyun-jin is nervous but agrees. Outside the hotel, Sarang is still worried about her fiancé. She asks him if she should call an ambulance for him or he would take a taxi. Oh Hyun-jae says he is fine and tells her he wants to go by himself. She doesn't agree, asking how he will go by himself when he is this badly hurt. He tells her today is an important day for her father, so she should just stay here and tell her father something came up, so he left. Sarang isn't pleased and questions him about why he got into a fight with President Cha. Hyun-jae tries to ignore the question. She tells him she was going to let it slide since he was already hurt. But how could he do this when he knew today was such an important day for her father? He apologizes and tells her it is all his fault, so can they stop talking about it? Sarang is stunned when he speaks to her like that. She yells at him about his attitude, asking if that is how he should behave towards someone that is just worried about him. She wants to know why Hyun Seo-jin was even there in the first place. Hyun-jae is alarmed and immediately pretends to be hurt, asking her if that can't wait. Must she really question him when he is hurt? Sarang doesn't care and asks him if he is seriously raising his voice at her right now. He doesn't reply to her and says they will talk later, immediately leaving. Watching him go, Sarang is shocked. Is he really going to just leave like that? Inside President Cha Joo-wan's office, two people are busy. They are busy kissing. Seo Jin has let go of her worries and is openly having fun with Cha Joo-wan. She realized in the moment they first kissed that she desperately wanted to be entangled with him more than anything. In fact, she has been looking forward to sharing another intimate moment with him again. Holding her down, Cha Joo-wan asks her if she is sure about this and if she won't regret it later on. She tells him she is sure and also asks him if he is fine with a relationship like this. He tells her as long as it means being tied to her, he will welcome whatever comes. With this, the two get down to business as they decide to see how far this will go. 30 minutes ago. Inside the president's office, Yoon Seo-jin is holding a first aid box and offers to help her president apply the medicine. He looks back coldly at her, making her feel nervous. This is the worst, she thinks. She feels completely exposed before him, like she has hit rock bottom with him. Turning to her, Cha Joo-wan asks her if she doesn't have anything to say to him. Seo-jin is confused. He asks her if she isn't mad at him since he interfered without her permission. Seo-jin purses her lips and wants to know why he did it. What was he thinking stepping in like that? And with his fists even. Joo-won asks her coldly if she is worried about her ex-boyfriend being badly hurt by him. Should he have let her go after him? No, it's not that, she says, and sighs. She tells him to just sit down and let her take care of his wounds first. Standing above him, she applies some medicine to his face. He groans, but she tells him to keep still even if it hurts. Looking at his face, she asks him if he really doesn't want to go to the hospital. She can't stop worrying because his wound looks really bad, like it's torn open. President Cha refuses and grabs her hand, saying he is more curious about something else. Seo Jin asks what it is, and he says her feelings. He wants to know what she feels. Who is she really worried about right now? What is she thinking about at this moment? Why does she feel so far away even while sitting next to him? Seo Jin sighs. Holding his hand to apply medicine to his knuckles, she tells him it's just that he got injured over something like this. He could have ignored it and walked away, but he didn't. She just feels awful thinking he got injured because of her. Joo-wan says good, making Seo Jin angry. What is good about that? You are hurt, she yells. He says it is good because that means she cares about him. Holding up his injured hands, he tells her if getting injured or sick is what will get her attention, then he is ready to do it more often. Seo Jin is stunned. Smiling, she tells him he is being ridiculous. He is stunned when he sees her smiling, which also makes him smile. He asks her, did she know she hasn't smiled at him once since they met in Seoul? She scolds him, asking what kind of employee casually smiles in front of her boss. He asks if him being the boss is the issue here. When he was running the guest house, why wasn't it a problem then? Seo Jin doesn't answer. She thinks that what Joo-wan feels about her now is just regret, because she left Jeju Island without saying goodbye or tying up loose ends. Looking up at him, she finally confesses. Yes, she is attracted to him too. Joo-wan is surprised she is saying this. She tells him she is scared to act on these fleeting feelings as they might ruin everything. Even so, if he is okay with it, maybe they could start over like before until they are both sure. Her face is completely red as Joo-wan asks her if starting over means them sleeping with each other. She says it's not about them just sleeping together. He doesn't let her finish speaking but stands up and pulls her closer. He warns her not to try to backtrack later on. And with that, he pulls her for a kiss. Back to the present in Cha Joo-wan's room, the two are busy getting intimate. Seo Jin wants to know if the last time he brought her here, he had a hard time holding back. Joo-wan asks her what kind of question is that. She tells him he must have some serious self-control, but he says it isn't like that. She doesn't mind and tells him there is no rush, so he has to hold back this time too. He groans, asking why she is teasing him. She says she just wants him to hold back. He flips her over and tells her it doesn't seem like he can do that now. The two mess around as they start their passionate loving. Looking up at the man above, Seo Jin admits to herself that she isn't really the type to believe in destiny or connections like that. Instead, she always preferred a stable life. Plus, her repetitive clockwork-like routine didn't leave much time for adventures or new encounters. That is why this moment feels so special. Just his very existence is shaking her entire life to the core. She wonders, will a day come where they will have to define what is going on between them? Done with their passionate coupling, the two lie in bed together. Cha Joo-wan wants to know what she is thinking about, and she says she is wondering if it is okay to be doing this with her boss. Turning to look at her, he asks, why now after all this time? Is she starting to regret it? Seo Jin leans against his chest and smiles, saying, she is just kidding. She is the one who started it, remember? He stares at her and says she is driving him crazy, then pulls the blanket off her, tickling her. She laughs and smiles happily. Joo-wan can't stop admiring her and asks why she is moving like that, as he is the type to give in easily to temptation. She is stunned as she doesn't even know when she tempted him. He leans down to kiss her, and the two start another round of passion. Sigh, these kids. It is morning and our couple is still asleep. Sorry, Seo Jin is asleep while Cha Joo-wan lies awake watching her and smiling. Suddenly, the bell rings loudly, startling our male lead, and he goes rushing out of the room in a panic. He opens the door for the waiter, who greets him loudly. He immediately tells the man to hush. Looking at the breakfast tray, he tells the staff that today's breakfast should be a simple meal of omelet for two. Also, from now on, he should just knock lightly on the door instead of ringing the bell. The man says yes and leaves. Walking into the room, our President Cha wonders if his beloved has woken up. However, she is still sleeping soundly. He can't stop smiling anytime he looks at her. He wonders if she will even notice if he carries her. Seo Jin is finally awake. She stretches on the bed as she murmurs about sleeping well. Looking around the room, she remembers what happened last night, and she immediately hugs the covers, laughing sillily. A voice comes from outside, asking if she is awake, making her sit up in a panic. She tells him to wait a minute, and she will be out soon. Unfortunately, there is nothing around for her to wear. Cha Joo-wan is sitting reading a book when he hears footsteps and looks up. He is stunned to see Seo Hyun-jin standing there wearing his shirt. She asks nervously if she can borrow it. He stands up and flings his book away. Seo Hyun-jin is startled and asks what is wrong. Does he not want to see her wearing this? He tells her he has a better idea instead. He immediately picks her up. Seo Hyun-jin is shocked and asks him what he is doing all of a sudden. He smiles lewdly and says they should shower together. He will wash her up real nice. Seo Hyun-jin protests and asks him to put her down already. He says, yes, let's go. I'll put you down soon. But doesn't stop taking her into the bathroom. Inside a dark room wherever, someone is definitely not having a good time like our main couple. Oh Hyun-jae is busy drinking bottle after bottle of alcohol. He keeps thinking about what Cha Joo-wan said. He is neither a boss nor a thug, but here because he has a personal interest in Hyun Seo Jin. He remembers the words President Cha said to him, calling him small-minded. Ha! He sneers. What is wrong with him? He looks at a picture on his phone. It is one of him and Seo Jin together. They are smiling brightly. Touching her face on the screen, he wonders to himself if she is really dating that man. He lies on the floor as he keeps calling out her name. Jinna, he murmurs. He can't help but think back to past memories. He remembers the day the two of them took that photo he has on his screen. She said she wanted to take a picture. Holding her hand, he told her to stand over there so he could take a picture for her. She didn't agree and instead said they should take a picture together. He leaned against her with a smile as they happily smiled for the camera. Back to present, he places a hand over his eyes. They were so happy. So how does a love like that just disappear? Jenna, he mumbles. His phone rings, showing Sarang is calling, but he doesn't pick. The lady herself is standing outside his apartment building trying to call him. In her mind, she begs him to pick up the phone. She can't forget how angry her father was when he found out about Hyun-jae's fight with President Cha. He asked if the boy had lost his mind to do such a thing at that type of event. Her mother tried to calm the old man down by the side. Once they got back home, Sarang could only stand silently in front of them while her father scolded her. The old man sighed and told her this is why he didn't want her to get together with someone who has no background or standing. He let it slide because she insisted and said the boy had a good personality. Yet now, today of all days, such a thing happened. Is she even thinking straight? Sarang could only beg and told her father something happened, so Hyun-jae had to leave. Something came up? Her father angrily said. People saw him and President Cha angrily going at each other, grabbing collars, and you are telling me something came up? With that, her father angrily declared that she is not going to marry that guy. Standing in front of his building, the call fails to connect once again. She looks up at his apartment as she wonders what they are going to do about this. Meanwhile, our dear female lead is lying on the couch tiredly. She is so tired she doesn't even have the strength to lift a finger. She remembers how Joo-wan tortured her all through the shower and didn't let her go, no matter how much she complained about him being too deep. Starting the morning strong, huh? The silly girl thinks. A smiling Joo-wan comes in with breakfast and orders her to stay still as he will handle everything. Seo Jin is annoyed when she sees him and says it's honestly a miracle she didn't pass out. The culprit is not remorseful, saying she must be starving and even tries to feed her. Of course, she does open her mouth. Staring at her, he giggles and says she eats so well and is so pretty. She warns him to stop staring at her and eat his own food. There is a knock on the door and she turns to him asking if they're expecting someone. He says he sent some clothes for laundry service, so that just be it. She should keep eating while he goes to get it. He opens the door to see his other mistress standing there. Good morning, President. His second lover, Secretary Kim, greets him happily. Cha Joo-wan, however, isn't happy to see him and instead yells, asking what he is doing here. Even Seo Jin hears his yell from inside and wonders what is happening. Joo-wan asks Woo Jin why he is showing up out of nowhere. Isn't it Saturday? Woo Jin resentfully says Joo-wan was the one who refused to answer his calls. After the mess he caused yesterday, how could he just disappear? Is Hyun Seo Jin with him also? Joo-wan nervously scratches his head and lies, saying he wasn't feeling well after such a big fight, so he came straight up to rest. Woo Jin, however, smiles slyly and raises the clothes in his hand, asking why he also sent Seo Jin's clothes to the laundry service together with his. Coughing, Joo-wan snatches the clothes and asks Woo-jin what he is really doing here. The almighty Woo-jin wouldn't come all the way here on the weekend just because he didn't answer his calls. His friend tells him the chairman heard about what happened and has summoned him. Joo-wan immediately stops smiling and says he is screwed. He decides to attend to that after the weekend. Woo-jin says he also came to check on his friend's condition, but it seems he is having such a fun time. Opening the door, Joo-wan tells him to leave then if he knows. The nosy Woo-jin wants to know what exactly is happening between the two. Joo-wan holds his shoulders and pushes him out the door, ignoring Woo-jin's struggles. "Later, we'll talk later, buddy," he says. Woo-jin isn't satisfied and says so he is now buddy? Joo-wan says he is and tells him to take care, closing the door. He ignores his friend's shouts from outside and goes inside with the laundry. Returning to the room, he tells Seo Hyun-jin there was a small issue with the laundry, but it's sorted now. Seo Hyun-jin tells him she is curious about something. Why is he staying at a hotel? Someone like him could easily stay somewhere better. Joo-wan says it is convenient for managing the hotel smoothly. He gets to experience the service firsthand and check on the food whenever. Makes sense, Seo Hyun-jin says. Joo-wan wants to know if she is okay. She looks like she has lost her appetite. She explains she is just thinking. If she keeps staying here, it is only a matter of time before people start talking about them. That's it? Joo-wan sighs. He remembers how even Woo-jin immediately knew she was here. She smiles and tells him they should finish eating first. After breakfast, Seo Hyun-jin is all dressed to leave. Watching her, Joo-wan asks if she really wants to leave after all. It's Saturday. She says she didn't go home yesterday, so she has to head back today. He hugs her from behind and asks her if she has something precious hidden at home. She smiles as she says she wishes she did, but she doesn't. Holding her hand, he asks if she really wants to go and leave him all by himself. She sighs and explains that there is housework piled up at home. He kisses her neck and begs her not to go but to stay here with him. He promises to take care of her. She smirks, asking how he plans to take care of her. Like this, he says, and turns her face around to kiss her lips. Soon, they both discard their clothes, which they just put on, as another round of loving begins. At Global Corp Company, the weekend is over and our male lead is on his way to see his grandfather. Together with Secretary Kim, he approaches the office. He is so nervous he can't stop shaking. They reach the chairman's office and Secretary Kim tells him to go in. His grandfather's secretary lets him into the room. He is about to greet his grandfather and ask him if he has been well when he notices the old man is not alone. Recognizing the man sitting with his grandpa, he immediately stops talking. The old man is unbothered. "If you're gonna greet me, finish the sentence, kid," he says. The other man in the room glances at Joo-wan coldly. Seeing this look, our male lead is uncomfortable and tells his grandpa he must have misread the timing. He has to leave and will come back another time. The old man is not having any of that. "You little punk, I called you here and you think you can decide whether you're staying or leaving? Sit down. The tea will be out soon," he tells his grandson. With no choice, Joo-wan joins them on the couch. The atmosphere in the office is tense. Joo-wan says the father and son must be bonding nicely so early in the morning. They are even having a tea time. The old man grins happily. "Looks good, doesn't it?" he says. He tells Joo-wan that 3 generations sitting and chatting isn't something you see every day. It turns out the cold-faced man is Joo-wan's father. Speaking to Joo-wan, his father asks him about the commotion that happened in the hotel. Joo-wan smirks. He tells his father he just has to sit here, yet he knows all about something that happened on the other side of the world. "Word travels fast, doesn't it?" he says. His father coldly says it seems he wasn't cut out for this job after all. "Let's hope you don't make a bigger fuss," he adds. Joo-wan is enraged. "Why?" he asks his father. The man threw him a failed hotel, but just when he managed to bring it back to life this much now, his father wants it too. Standing up, he faces his grandfather, asking him why he keeps forcing such awkward encounters. It's not like getting angry so early in the morning will do either of them any good. The old man doesn't seem concerned. He is enjoying the show and even laughs happily, telling his grandson they might have done something good since he can at least call himself a businessman. His father, however, tells him to sit down as they haven't even started talking yet. "Stop acting like you weren't raised properly," he tells his son. Joo-wan has had enough. He asks his grandfather if he hasn't humiliated him enough. He is worried if he stays here any longer, he will end up being called an unwanted child. His grandfather tells him he is having the best time of his life watching the father and son bark at each other. He even asks them to keep going. Who knows? They might get along eventually. Joo-wan asks his grandfather to take care as he would come back another day. With that, he leaves. The grandfather and son are left alone. Watching his grandson leave, the old man says the boy doesn't have any sharp corners. His son, however, tells him no matter what he says, he has no intention of ever putting Joo-wan on his household register. His father reminds him that it is also his household register too. This makes his son panic. The old man says Joo-wan is also his blood. So how much longer does his son want the boy to bear another name? Doesn't it bother him? It bothers even him, and he is just the grandfather. Joo-wan's father is silent. Inside the car, Cha Joo-wan is still fuming. This is so annoying, he complains. Looking at him, Secretary Kim asks if it didn't go well. Joo-wan says it didn't, as the father and son were both sitting there having tea like nothing happened. Ah, Secretary Kim sighs. The boss was there too? Joo-wan nods. He asks Secretary Kim if he has anything special on his schedule today. The secretary says he doesn't. Joo-wan declares he is skipping work today because all of a sudden he misses his mom. Sitting at her desk, our female lead, Seo Hyun-jin, is busy working. She pauses to look at her phone, wondering to herself why Joo-wan hasn't called all day. Is something wrong? She worries. Her phone beeps with a message and she grabs it quickly while giggling happily. Of course, she thinks smugly. A glance at the phone turns her happiness into shock. It isn't Cha Joo-wan messaging her instead, but Sarang. Secretary Hyun, it's Sarang. Please can I have a moment of your time? The message reads, Sarang is sitting in a restaurant with her head bowed. Seo Hyun-jin walks in and spots her. Sarang, she calls out to her. You're here, Sarang says. The women sit together in awkward silence for a while before Sarang sighs. She tells Seo Hyun-jin she called her here because she had to check something. What is going on between you and Hyun-jae Oppa? She asks Seo Hyun-jin. Our female lead doesn't know what to say. The Jin Oppa keeps calling. Is it you, Secretary Hyun? Sarang asks again. Seo Hyun-jin still doesn't say anything. Sarang lowers her head and starts sobbing. She knows showing up like this is crossing the line, but Hyun-jae has refused to pick up her calls. He is avoiding her completely, and now her parents are furious, telling her to break things off with him. Her tears cause Seo Hyun-jin to panic, and she tells the girl to calm down and take a deep breath. Sarang says she is sorry as she has never dealt with anything like this before. Seo Hyun-jin hands her a glass of water. Looking at the other woman who has lived her whole life like a delicate flower in a greenhouse, Seo Hyun-jin thinks she is learning despair for the first time because of a man who left her after being by her side for over 10 years. Sarang takes a sip of the water and thanks Seo Hyun-jin. I feel a little bit better now, she says. Taking a deep breath, Seo Hyun-jin begins to talk. She tells Sarang that she and Hyun-jae have been together for over 10 years. Sarang is shocked to hear that. Seo Hyun-jin says she doesn't know when it started, but it seems he was seeing both of them at the same time. She first found out about the two of them that day. Sarang came to meet him with the CEO. He must have wanted to avoid telling either of them the truth just the same way he is avoiding everything now. That is how he has always been. Sarang is heartbroken. She always thought it was her first, not Secretary Hyun. She asks Seo Hyun-jin if that was the reason she quit her job. Was it because of them? Seo Hyun-jin says yes. If they're being direct, that is the reason why. Then the last time I ran into you in front of the office when you were talking to Hyun-jae, you knew everything? Sarang asks. Standing up, she slams the table, yelling at Seo Hyun-jin. She acted like nothing was wrong, like she didn't know a thing, and just stood there lying to her face. Han Sarang, someone calls out. The two ladies look back, and to their surprise, it is Hyun-jae. Are you out of your mind? What the heck do you think you are doing here? He yells. Secretary Kim is having one of his famous breakdowns again. He is sitting in the passenger's seat while his boss drives. If you're going to slack off, do it alone, he scolds him. Cha Joo-wan isn't bothered and tells him when the boss is heading out, it is only natural for the secretary to go with him. Besides, which kind of president drives himself around anyways? Secretary Kim tells him he is really only holding back because he respects Joo-wan's mother. Yeah. Thank you so much, Secretary Kim, Joo-wan says. The two arrive in front of a restaurant and go in. Inside, the place is packed with people eating and ordering. Woo-jin is amazed, saying the place hasn't changed. It is still packed even on a weekday afternoon. Joo-wan proudly says the food is good. Oh, my Joo-wan, someone calls out. The two men turn to see an older woman smiling happily. She asks why they came here without calling first. Mom. Our CEO turns into a big baby and happily hugs his mother. She laughs and is happy to see Woo-jin too. He greets her hello. Joo-wan leads her inside as he tells her to leave the counter to the staff and take a break inside. Why is she even out here working? His mother refuses. A boss can't just disappear from their post, she says. Looking at her son, she asks if he wants to eat. Joo-wan shamelessly grabs his mom's shoulder and speaks in a sing-song voice. Mom, I want to eat your food. Standing behind, Woo-jin is disgusted watching his friend's shameless display of affection. Upstairs, the two sit as they wait for their food. Gazing around, Woo-jin is surprised as the second floor used to be a storage room. Are they sitting customers up here now? He loves how nice and quiet it is. Joo-wan replies it has been that way for a while now. Like a glutton, he says. Just smelling the food is already making his mouth water. Like an angel, his mom appears immediately with a tray of food. Here are your food, boys, she says. Joo-wan stands up in a panic as he asks her why she brought the food up by herself when she has two full-grown men sitting right here. She should have just called them. Woo-jin hastily offers to do it. They thank her for the meal and start eating. After taking a bite, Joo-wan acts cute, telling his mom her cooking just keeps getting better. His mom finds it suspicious, however, and asks if he is going through something, making Woo-jin cough loudly. He says his boss got scolded by the chairman. His mother is worried and asks why. Joo-wan reassures her it wasn't a scolding. His father was just whining about wanting to see his grandson. Glaring at Woo-jin, he asks him why he always has to run his mouth. Woo-jin playfully sticks his tongue out at him. Turning to his mother, he asks if it is corn harvest season. She hasn't done her harvest yet, right? His mother is confused and says yes. Woo-jin laughs at his boss's attempt to change the topic. His laughter soon dies, however, when Joo-wan happily declares he would do the harvest along with Woo-jin. His poor secretary pauses with the spoon of rice he was about to eat near his mouth. His face screams confusion. Did he just get ambushed mid-meal? A worker comes in to call her boss, saying she is needed outside. Joo-wan's mother says she will be right there and asks the boys to keep eating. As soon as she leaves, Woo-jin immediately asks his boss, "What corn? What is he talking about?" Joo-wan laughs evilly and says he is just helping out wherever he can. Secretary Kim is about to burst into flames from anger. Is he serious right now? Is he really treating his secretary like a personal farmhand? Joo-wan, however, asks him who said he is a secretary. He came here as his friend and he even got a free meal, so now he has to also help a little. Done with talking, he tells his friend if he is done with his meal, they will start working. Secretary Kim shouts in protest. Over at our female lead's side, Hyun-jae barges in on them. Glaring at Sarang, he asks her what she is doing here. Ha! She says. She couldn't reach him no matter what, but now that she has shown up here, they finally meet. Seo-jin looks between the two nervously. Hyun-jae walks up to Sarang and drags her hand, telling her to come outside so they can talk. She tries to struggle, telling him she isn't done talking to Hyun Seo-jin. Let go of me, she yells loudly, making people around stare at them. Seo-jin sighs. Enough, both of you, she tells the two of them. Hyun-jae pauses and turns to apologize to her for today, promising to call her later. Sitting calmly in her chair, Seo-jin tells him not to bother calling her as she won't pick his call. Hyun-jae grits his teeth in anger, but he can't do anything, so he drags Sarang outside. Shoving her into the car, he asks her to put her seatbelt on. Sarang asks him angrily if he doesn't have anything to say to her. Running his hands through his hair, he asks her what she wants him to say. Does she really have to push someone like this so far to the edge? Sarang doesn't believe it. What did she do? He was the one who got caught two-timing. So why is he acting and playing the victim now? She tells him she found out Secretary Hyun was first, not her. Does he have any idea how awful it feels for her to suddenly find out she has been the other woman all along? And then he just had to ghost her. Even her parents are blowing up, demanding she break up with him immediately. Does he have any idea how hard this has been for her too? Oh, Hyun-jae asks her what she is saying. Should they break up now just because of what her parents are saying? This shocks Sarang, and she quickly explains that wasn't what she was saying. When did she ever say anything about breaking up with him? He tells her she feels horrible because she found out she was the other woman. Her parents are furious and everything is just a mess. To him, it sounds like she is saying she can't do this anymore. If that is so, then fine. They can break up. Sarang panics. Appa! She grabs his arm. Do you even know how much time is left until their wedding? You're just getting cold feet. She tries to explain desperately for him. She is not accepting this. They are not breaking up. Desperate, she suggests they should take a few days off. Give each other some space first. Hyun-jae acts like he is unconcerned and tells her it is up to her, and she can do whatever she wants. Hearing this makes Sarang even sadder. Our dear Seo Hyun-jin has left the restaurant and is walking back home. Suddenly, someone grabs her hand from behind. Seo Hyun-jin is shocked and wants to see who the culprit is. It turns out to be her sweet boss, Cha Joo-wan. He smiles brightly at her and asks her if she is finally done for the day. Joo-wan, she yells happily. She scolds him for scaring her like this. What is he even doing showing up out of nowhere after ignoring her all day? He teases her, asking how long she was waiting for him to call. Embarrassed, she pushes him away and says she doesn't know. Joo-wan laughs happily at her and tells her to wait up as she is walking too fast. He holds her hand and she asks him if it is okay doing this in front of the office. Looking at his shirt, she spots some yellow thing on his shirt and asks what it is. He jokingly says the corn husk must have followed him all the way back here. Behind them, a certain someone is watching this happy scene. Seo Hyun-jin, Hyun-jae murmurs. He sees how happy she is letting Joo-wan touch her face while pretending to protest. He remembers a time when she was this happy with him too, and he feels betrayed. How can she laugh like this in front of another guy that isn't him? Want us to continue? Comment part 2 below. Also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, ciao!